Okay, so good morning. We're going to be listening to the leadership class put a bunch of time and effort into developing these presentations around bullying and conflict. And then I'm going to be following their information up with some more kind of administrative information. As a heads up, at the end of this, we are going to be having you do two things. There's a short exit ticket that we're going to use to kind of collect some data about how well this went. And then also we're going to have you sign off that you understand what's being covered today. Okay? So take it away, leadership.
Understanding the difference between bullying and conflict.
Why we are addressing bullying and the importance of stopping it. We are addressing bullying because it is a real problem in our school and in schools in general today. Our student voice is telling us that bullying is a big part of why our school culture is toxic and split apart. According to the student experience survey, I feel students are nice or show respect to each other at my school is at a 2.86 out of 5, which is about half of our schools stating that students don't show respect.
Bullying is the action of harassing someone repeatedly to make them feel powerless. Conflict is having a disagreement with someone that is a one-time thing.
Examples of bullying. Verbal bullying are name-calling, making fun of, making jokes at another expense, unwelcome teasing, spreading secrets so undisclosed in confidence. Physical bullying, pushing, shoving, pinching, hitting, damaging property, vandalizing locker or school supplies. Cyberbullying, sending mean emails or texts, posting hurtful messages on social media, spreading rumors online. Social bullying, excluding someone out of a group, spreading false rumors, encouraging others to turn against someone.
Examples of conflict. A conflict can be as simple as a disagreement over any topic. There can be a group of people who had a disagreement over something. There can be two students start roughhousing during a game outside during lunch. It can also be two students are on a committee together and they don't agree on how to decorate for a dance.
How to report bullying. Report to an adult to notify them of the situation immediately after it occurs. Fill out a bullying form and wait for Miss Dean or Dr. Shield to take action and try to stay away from that person.
Bullying form investigation procedure. Step 1. Any reports about these issues should be given to the principal/vice principal. The report should be written down explaining what happened and when. Step 2. The principal or vice principal will investigate quickly and meet with everyone involved within 5 days. Parents will be told about any report involving their child. The people involved can share evidence and names of witnesses. The principal or vice principal will write down their findings and notify the person who made the report, as well as the parents within 10 days of the investigation. How to report conflict. Stop and walk away, fill out a conflict form after it occurs, and try to stay away from that person.
You'll be seeing this around the hallways and classrooms. It's so we know if it's like conflict or bullying.
Some effects of bullying. Kids who are bullied are more likely to experience depression and anxiety, increased feelings of sadness and loneliness, changes in sleep and eating patterns, and loss of interest in activities they used to enjoy.
Why kindness in a positive school culture matters. Kindness in education encourages open communication, allowing students to express their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment, ultimately leading to a more supportive and inclusive classroom culture. Joy and belonging is the catalyst that fuels curiosity and a love for learning.
As far as what these guys covered, we do have a reporting process. I know some people are not 100% clear on what that looks like, so that's why, once again, I'm just going to go over real quick. Different types of actions warrant different types of reports. So if you are experiencing a conflict where somebody is being mean or rude, it's kind of a one-time thing happening in a classroom, etc., you're going to be filling out the I need help problem solving form, which is up in the office. Stephanie and Kara or myself or a counselor can always provide those to you. This is going to go to counselor, and then counselor is going to meet with you and help you with kind of processing, deciding what your next best moves are. Now, if the counselor determines that there's more at play here, it's not just a conflict, they may actually refer it to Dr. Shields and myself, and then we'll follow through with a more serious process. Now, if you are experiencing bullying where somebody is repeatedly doing any of those actions that the leadership students just discussed, that needs to be reported to an adult. Okay, teachers have been through a similar type of training on this. So they're ready to receive reports, and then they will be directing you up to the office, or you can just take yourself to the office and fill out the bullying report. That is going to initiate a meeting between counseling, myself, Dr. Shields, kind of decide how serious it is, what we're going to do next, and then an investigation occurs. Okay? Like leadership students shared with you, this process is pretty formal and it is pretty serious. All parents get informed right at the start before we even investigate. Okay? The investigation occurs. The outcome of the investigation is going to result in some type of consequence. Something else that a lot of people don't realize is that everything that I'm talking about today actually does get documented and kind of saved file-wise. Okay, so if it goes through an investigation, it's shown that you truly are bullying something, that is something that gets documented in your file. Okay, so this is serious, and there's a reason why this stuff is serious, which is what I'm going to get into next. A couple of other things. We've gotten really used to using the term bullying. Oh, he's bullying me. Oh, she's bullying me. We need to be real careful with that from now on, because that term is what triggers a more serious process. Okay, and then the last thing on this slide before we move on, I hear from a lot of people, oh, this has been happening all year. Please report. We'll talk about retaliation here in a second. Please report. We need you to let us know so that we can shut it down. Bullying and bias incidents are serious violations of our district's student code of conduct, period. And there's policy, state law, and federal law that actually requires that Dr. Shields and I follow through formally when these types of events happen. As far as bullying and harassment, there is a state law, Every Student Belongs law. Sorry, this is a little light. That law basically says that every student, doesn't matter who it is, has a right to be here and not be bullied or harassed. Okay? It also requires staff to take immediate action. So that's state law requiring those two things. To support that state law, we have a board policy, okay, JFCF, which includes not only bullying, but intimidation, cyberbullying, harassment, etc. And that policy states that if you are behaving in this way, there needs to be consequences, usually disciplinary all the way up to expulsion, depending on how bad it's become. Okay? So those two pieces of policy exist. And the take-home message really is everyone has a right to be here at school and be safe. Doesn't matter who you are. Taking it to the next level is going to be anti-discrimination law and board policy. Okay? And anti-discrimination is driven by the Civil Rights Act, which I'm sure, especially as 8th graders, you guys have learned about. Discrimination a lot of times is referred to as bias. So when we talk about bias incidents. So anything that includes display of a hate symbol, something like a swastika, or any derogatory language or behavior directed at or about. Discrimination is all about protecting, or this law is all about protecting groups of people. Those groups of people, those protected classes, are people of different races, colors, religions, their gender identity, their sexual orientation, disability, and national origin. Okay, so federal law states that those groups are protected from discrimination in a public school. To support that federal law, we have board policy. Okay, we have board policy that states all students are entitled to an educational experience free from discrimination. The district policy also prohibits retaliation. So there's actually a clause in that policy that describes if a student chooses to retaliate against somebody who's reported, that the severity of consequence and follow-through increases. Okay. Another board policy basically just identifies that any of those groups protected by law, we prohibit discrimination or harassment of people in those groups. Okay. Side note, some of the things that I have been hearing over the past few months. The N-word. The N-word is use of it in this building is in direct violation of policy and federal law. Okay? Anti-trans language, direct violation. Homophobic language, direct violation. Making fun of people's accents, direct violation. Okay? So we need to start checking ourselves and making sure that we're thinking before we say certain things to ensure that we're not violating this policy and these laws. Now, if you choose to violate, there's going to be consequences. So as far as bullying, okay, in support of that district policy, if you are found to have bullied somebody, we're looking at a level 2 response. So what that means is we're not just looking at, we have a little talk about it and say, don't do it again. You are looking at something that includes parent contact, loss of privileges, you might have a team meeting, you might be looking at detention, no contact plan, ISS, just kind of depends on what the investigation determines, okay? Now, if it happens again, then you're looking at level 3 out of school suspension. We need it to stop. If you are found having participated in a bias incident, that is an automatic out of school suspension. It is just like fighting, okay? So again, you need to be careful with what you are saying. It's not that you're saying it towards somebody. You can't say it when you are on campus or when you are on buses. Now, as a side note, do you need to be friends with everybody and like everybody? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What we're saying is that you have your own opinions and beliefs, and in certain environments, it is totally appropriate for you to express those, to discuss them, etc. But laws state that here at school, on campus, and on buses, we are kind to each other, and we do not say disparaging things about other people here at school. Okay? I'm going to wait on other topics to address. Oh, I do want to run quick things. Slang terms. There's this thing called Google. So anytime you guys use a slang term, it's pretty easy for us to figure out what it means. And there's a lot of slang terms that actually fall into the bullying and discrimination category. So again, be careful. Make sure you're using language that is appropriate for here at school. Okay? Leave the slang and all of that off campus. Don't bring it here, please. And then I'm going to jump through some of these others. Okay, so the take-home message is we need you to treat each other kindly. Okay? We need you to not participate in bullying, harassment, or any discriminatory behavior.